How's everybody out in internet land? I hope y'all are doing great. Getting a little late in the spring. As you can see, I've already got a few things coming out on my pear tree here. It's my last one of the year, but I've got to get some pruning done on this. We planted it last year and got a good discount on it. It's at the nursery, but it's not exactly an open top pruning job on this. Matter of fact, I don't think hardly any pruning's been done on it in some time. We're wanting some pears off of it this year, so I've got to limit my pruning so that I don't take away everything. So I'm only going to do a little bit this year and come back next year and do a little bit more to kind of finalize the job and get this to where we're going to get a lot of fruit off of it in a few years. So pruning is one of those things you give up a little bit short term to get a lot in the future. So there are several good videos on pruning. I'll put a link to a couple of different channels in the comments below, but feel free to search and find who you like. But there are several good ones out there. So let's get started. So when pruning, pretty much anything growing tree up you want to cut. That is just about everything on this tree. So I don't want to do that because my daughter likes pears and I want her to have some pears this year. So I'm going to go in and cut probably half of the vertical ones this year. Try to get them to grow a little more horizontal, and then next year I'm going to come back in and cut the others and prune those. It's late, I've got some buds going, but we should still be okay. Couple of things. You want to make sure you go through and have a set of loppers, probably a good set of pruning shears, and make sure they're clean. Even in between trees, you can transmit diseases from one tree to another. So make sure you carry a rag or something, that way you can wipe it off. Try to limit that risk. All right, well, let's see what we can do. So two types of buds on a tree generally: flowering, where it's going to produce a fruit, and then vegetative. All right, takes a little bit of practice to get to where you can see those. All right, but once you understand that, what that means is I don't want to specifically go through and cut right above a flowering bloom. Generally, when I'm pruning, I want to cut just above a vegetative bud. Okay, so the other thing is I want to cut above one that's going to go out. All right, so I don't want it to point in, I want to make sure it's pointing out. You also want to cut at an angle. You don't want to cut it square on top where water's going to get on it and just sit. All right, so let's get started. This is going to be ugly. All right, where do I want to cut you? That one. I got a couple of different spots I could cut this one. This one goes out that way. It's not perfect, but it would do. And then this one. So I'm going to lop him off about here. Get me a good angle. All right, so that one should grow out. All right, this one, I'm going to take this one and probably, I'll take this one out and some of that one. That's my tallest, but these look like they're already blooming pretty heavily, so I'm going to try to leave those alone this year. All right, so see if we can get this untangled some. Yeah, not going to work. So, all right, so let's see here. Where do I want to go with it? Again, I'm wanting something that's going to go away from the center of the tree. I think I'm going to cut here. We're going to cut him back quite a bit. Just above the bud, at an angle. Pretty clean cut there. There we go. Trying to get him out without damaging too much there. So that bud's going to grow out. This one, I'm just going to lop it off because it's growing straight up and into the tree, so I don't like it. So there's a little bud right here. I'm going to cut it off at an angle right above it and see if we can get it out. There we go. If I don't like him, I'll just come back and lop that off. Okay. Already looking a little bit better. This is okay. I'm going to leave it for now. I probably should prune it back some, but I'm going to leave it for now. And I'm going to get one more of these. So this is growing way too vertical up here. You can't see it, but I've got one bud on the back side of this. So I'm going to cut this top section off here. So I'm going to leave the rest of that center trunk up so that I can get some peaches, or excuse me, pears this year. There we go. There's a lot more that needs to be cut off of this, but for the sake of this year, and I'm wanting to get some production out of it, again, I'm going to do this over about 2 or 3 years. But really, I want to go in and just cut off those on the 2 sections, and that's in the center, so that I get some outward growth. But that's going to be the majority where my fruit's at right there. So if I want any fruit off of it, I'm going to have to leave those alone. So when you get one, my first recommendation, from a nursery, usually they're going to have most of the pruning done for you, and it should be open canopy. This one, it was just sitting off in a corner, a very mature tree, and I got a good price on it. So I'm not complaining, but I got a lot of work to train it and get it to be what it can be. I appreciate it. I'm no pruning expert, but that time of year, actually it's getting a little bit late for most of you if you're in the southern portion of the U.S. But if you're in the northern, you're in prime territory. So get out there and get it done. It'll help you long term. Y'all have a good one. Bye now.